Hi, Paul Conradi. I'm going to demonstrate the Eichler excess flow valve. The Eichler excess flow valve would be in a meter assembly right above the gas company shutoff. The cartridge, right now this is the cartridge about 6 inches long, has a piston in it, and the piston, you can see when the piston comes up, the piston is what seals off the gas. What it is the flow of gas creates friction around this piston and lifts it into that position to stop the flow of gas. So the only way this will work is if we're beyond, if we have a meter that's a 250 CFH meter, and if we're beyond 250 CFH, that's what's going to set that piston and stop the flow of gas. So that's excess flow, and we're going to stop the gas, right? What happens if we have a low pressure system with no regulator and we've got a half pound in the system at all times? That's what our system runs on, about a half pound, 0.5 psi. So what happens if we overpressure that system and it doesn't have a regulator? We could cause problems. I think that happened here not too long ago. So we were asked, what can we do to stop the flow of gas in an overpressure situation? Well, we're going to utilize this cartridge. This cartridge for demonstration purposes is right here in this piece of 1-inch pipe. And the cartridge will slide in, the O-rings will hold it in place. I believe you can see those. When more than, at this point, 1.2 pounds PSI comes into the system, the cap will pop off. And what happens when the cap pops off? We're going to create excess flow and stop the flow of gas. So, excess flow valve right here, and the pop-off valve can be installed and incorporated anywhere past the excess flow valve. It can be anywhere in the meter assembly attached to the meter. What we would want right here, as it's located here, is we would want a screened vent cap that attaches to maybe a small bell housing so that the cap has a place to go. When it's in place and we have this covered with a screened vent cap, the cap can pop off. That is a big hole to flow gas. With the flow of gas, it'll trip the Eichler flow valve and stop the flow of gas. So let's do a little demonstration. Thank you for your interest. We'll see you here in a bit. So here we go. There's the pressure gauge, and we've got 0.5 psi. Here's the valve body. It's going to be installed right above the union, right above the gas cutoff valve, the gas company cutoff valve. And there's a completed unit. One piece slides up in the meter base, in the meter assembly. So we're going to start flowing gas, and remember that this valve is set for anything flowing over 250 CFH. So we have a different size of holes cut in these caps just so we can have different values of gas flowing. There you can see the meters turning. And I don't have any values. These valves can be made to meet any specification. So we'll open up another valve. What I want to do here is show that it's very stable. It literally will not set that valve until you get to its specified flow rate. So we got two holes flowing, and when we open this third valve up, you'll see the pressure gauge go to 0, and obviously you'll see the flow through our plastic stop. So here we're going to crank it open, and that valve shuts instantly when you get to 250 CFH. There, it's closed. So now we're going to set all the valves. We're going to repair the damage by closing all the valves, and then we're going to turn the gas company valve off, and we're going to pressurize both sides of the valve, and now we're back in service. This valve, the excess flow valve, can be made in two different types. It can have a bypass or it can have no bypass. Different gas companies have different criteria, so we can make the valve meet the spec both ways. Again, we flow too much gas, we set the valve. We've turned all of our supply off. We're going to turn off the gas company valve, which equalizes pressure. Back in service. So here what I want to show is that we're running at a half pound, and now we're getting over pressurization, and at the top left of the screen is the pop-off valve, and you'll see as we get up just a little over a pound, it pops. So I'll put it back on. I want to show a little consistency here. It pops at exactly the same point every time. And again, what's happening is that cap comes off, and when the cap comes off, it allows excess flow, and so the valve stops instantly with very little gas escaping. So there again, we're going to come up right at a pound. So I do this several times, and then on the last turn I'm going to run the poundage up slowly and do it one more time. So on this last one we'll run the poundage up real slow. Sorry, we got one more we'll show it quickly, coming up to pressure and popping and opening. Well, I enjoy doing this. Let's do it one more time. Again, you'll see it's consistent. It's right at a pound. And we're building pressure pretty quick. So you're seeing it just barely gets over a pound. This last one, what I'm doing is I'm running it at 4 times the speed. So I'm going to stop it right at a pound. And again, I'm running, this is in time lapse, we're running at 4 times the speed. But I'll start increasing the pressure here in just a second, and you'll see where it actually pops off is right at 1.2 psi. So right here we start building a little pressure. And again, I'm running the video at 4 times because I want to do it very slowly, but I don't want you to have to wait on us. There's 1, 1, and there's 1, 2, and right at 1.2 pounds. Thank you all. That's the Eichler Valve excess flow valve demo and pop-off.